So now let's take a look at the tools available in STAAR Readiness and how they support these different functions. So the first tool that all teachers will see when they log in is the STAAR Readiness report. Now, this is a picture of the STAAR Readiness report in STAAR Readiness 6 through 8, but it looks nearly identical in STAAR Readiness 3 through 5. And one of the first things that the STAAR Readiness report is designed to support is being able to track preparedness. So are your students ready for the STAAR? And there's kind of a few data points that all answer different aspects of this question. So if you look at the intersection of a row, which is an individual student, and a column, which is an individual standard, you can assess whether or not that student is prepared for that standard. So for example, Alicia Johnson here has an accuracy of 100% on standard 6.2b, so we can assume that she's probably reasonably prepared for it. Now you also have this class total row at the top, and there you can see an average of all your students and whether or not they're prepared for the standard. So for example, we have 6.2b, we have student accuracy of around 84%, so that's pretty good. They seem prepared on that, whereas 6.4G, we have an accuracy of about 36% here. So maybe that's an area where they're not so prepared. And then we also have this student total column. So we can see each student across all of the standards, whether or not they're prepared. So we can see here Jeremy Atwood, maybe not so prepared. Maria, on the other hand, seems very prepared. And okay. So another way that the STAAR Readiness report supports teacher functions is by allowing them to monitor growth using these range filters. So STAAR Readiness teachers can filter out, filter different time periods. So for example, you could filter the last month or the month previous to that, and you can see how student performance is changing over time. Now you might also notice that these colors are jumping out at you, and that really is a way for teachers to identify areas very quickly that need support. So these orange areas are ones where students are performing below the kind of passing level of the STAAR. Now we're revising these cutoffs. I think I've mentioned this before, but we are revising the cutoffs for the next academic year to actually align with the STAAR cutoffs for every single grade level. And we're going to be changing these titles as well to reflect kind of the way the STAAR calls these categories. So those changes are coming, but the colors will stay the same, so teachers can easily see that anyone in orange is really struggling. And you can see, for example, like 6.4G, we have a bunch of students that are struggling on that standard. 6.2B, we actually don't have anyone. Everyone seems to be doing okay on that standard. Now, once we've identified some potential areas of focus, we can also group students for an intervention by sorting on a particular standard. So, for example, if we click on this column, we can sort students in ascending order on their accuracy. And that allows us to see that we have these 3 students who all have a very low accuracy on this standard. So it would make sense to put them together in an intervention group to get them up to a passing level. Now, another thing you could potentially do is actually use this to set up kind of peer tutoring groups. So you could actually pair off, say, an advanced student with one that is struggling and have them do some peer tutoring, as opposed to just grouping the kind of weaker students together in one group for a tutoring intervention with the teacher. Now you can also monitor productivity with the STAAR Readiness report in a few different ways. First of all, you can switch the report from percentages to fractions, which will show you how many problems students are solving. So for example, if you have a standard like in a class period, I want my students to get through at least 5 problems. well, then you can easily see kind of who's actually gotten through 5 problems and who hasn't in this time. The green bubbles show you what students are currently working on, so you can check that students are kind of working on the thing they're supposed to be working on. And you can also check this assignment column to make sure that students are getting through the assignments that you've given them. So for example, if let's say you've given everyone like a problem practice assignment to do, so you see the little problem practice icon for everyone, and you've told students that, you know what, I want you to get through this assignment by the end of the class period, you can constantly kind of monitor throughout the class period to make sure that students are actually on track to complete this assignment, and you can see kind of who's done at the end of the class period and who's not done. Now you can also integrate the data that you find here with other data that you might have by using the export function, and that allows you to download a spreadsheet with these results, like an Excel spreadsheet. And that way you can kind of manipulate the data more or combine it with other metrics that you might have for your students.